Please note, this is just a review of the final work and not an endorsement of the creator. Any opinion or prior action belonging to the creator involved, unless otherwise stated, are not factors in this review. Thank you and enjoy!
Hey guys, StarCraft here, and I've been having a big backlog of my crowdfunded Indiegogo and all that comic reviews. Just been letting them pile up. Either some of them are too long or just work and everything. So many reasons. So instead, I'm going over a huge stack of them. I got another one I'm going to be setting aside specifically to go over tomorrow. I just got it. I'm feeling the energy for going over it. But these ones I'm going to be going over. Either, like I said, some of them are, as you can see, way too long, or some of them I don't have a whole lot to say. Well, let's start with the ones you probably saw obviously on the front. The Cyberfrog Unforgettable Tales. Basically, remaster versions of Ethan's earliest and very first stuff with Cyberfrog. As one of his enemies is a fly who, if you actually recall from the Cyberfrog issue, kind of is hinted off in there. And we have Cyberfrog there. And yeah, it was 2 issues, very interesting artwork, very rough, but and Ethan hopefully admits he kind of regresses a little bit. You have a bit of a Barney jab in here and all that, but if I could be perfectly honest, I like getting these, but if I could be really honest, the coloring and everything just seems really off. I don't know if it's because of the inking, the heavy amounts of inking or something, but compared to what was done in the other Cyberfrog, it just felt like I spent money for this when I could have waited for the Warts and All omnibus. I'm not regretting it per se, but it just felt a little off. Like I said, a lot of coloring just... Again, it looks good. I think it is a little bit up compared to the roughness of Ethan's artwork. Because then some of it gets a little... like they mesh in and all that. Again, could be a lot of the heavy inks. I'm not sure. But that's just how I felt. Again, not bad, but let's move on to the next one. As we go over Juanpool 1 and 2, Journey of the Juan. Those of you remember was Juanpool was Mistah Mahvel. Basically, it's about this guy who is a big fan of Badger Babe. I believe that was her name. And after the first day of him, he talks about her. His entire server it causes a huge triggering outrage that actually breaks the internet and zaps him with something. As now he gets this weird vision, and eventually he wakes up and he's provided powers, and he wakes up and he's gay, by the way, and he has his boyfriend there, happy to see him and everything, as he then reveals he's been unpersoned, completely just doesn't exist anymore. As we're then also introduced to Badger Bitch, who seems to replace Badger Babe. Obviously this is done as a satire of what happened to Squirrel Girl. But there's a lot of very heavy-handedness. But then we actually have Badger Bitch show up and attack a bunch of hoodlums and just beat the ever-loving shit out of one of them, leaves him for near dead, and then takes off and everything, saying like, "I was outraged for you!" And we then see Juan meets up with the guys. He sees he's just battered and bruised. And then, just simply go put in the next issue. That's just the first issue. Next issue continues on as Juan figures out a bit more about his powers. And we also introduce to White Savior, who also gets beaten up by Badger Bitch. And basically by the end of it all, Juan basically realizes he has powers that can, he can create things, warp reality to a degree. We're also introduced to this young girl who was a girl he babysat, so she has a liking for him. in a more of a brother-sisterly way. And yeah, that was the second issue. We gotta wait for the third one to come out, but for a physical copy of those 2 issues, I liked. Now, I gotta get into some little disappointments. Your boy Zach's 2 books, Pandemic and The Ballad of No. I didn't fully care for these. Pandemic felt like, and I've heard other people make the same complaints. Now, the artwork by Renzo Rodriguez is great, but it feels like just as it gets going, it becomes one big chase. A lot of the plot that's set up is hardly there. A lot of the humor is really forced. Like you have a point where they go through a checkpoint, and she's coming up to a checkpoint, and a cop's about to shoot her, and says, "Don't shoot! Why not? She's American!" And then by the very end of it all, she slows down, and it turns out now one bit I did like, when she's trying to call up a friend, the friend's mother says, is asking, is saying, "It's me, Jenny's friend. How is Jennifer?" And it turns out, no, the girl's name is Genevieve, which was a tip-off saying, "Uh-oh, bad news." I like that. But yeah, she makes it into where all this stuff is kept in because of the pandemic. She finds toilet paper and just impulsively takes it, runs off, gets tranked, is told she's pretty much dead, and has been pretty much brought aboard to help save the world. And yeah, it's just a big chase that just sets up a lot and doesn't do much. Again, great artwork, but it feels like your boy Zach kind of rushed it, but more so he rushed with this. First of all, Kelsey Shannon, again, very good artist, but the artwork here is really rough. It's basically about this kid and this guy who can only say no and will do the opposite people say and all that, and yet he's somehow able to take people down, and start the whole thing as like using him to kind of, show up, make more political commentaries as he's also beating people up. It's set in the same universe as Pandemic, but yeah, throughout it all, like, somehow he's great with a sword, not much explanation, just a lot of unansweredness. And then by the end of it all, he's been found not guilty because of his incompetence, because of everything, of insanity. And it looks like he's going to be set up with someone that might be tied into Pandemic, because then you have this theosophy, which is what to be the combination of the two. And like I said, this felt rushed. A lot of the writing just felt like I didn't really get it at all. I didn't hate it, but it felt like a disappointment. If it wasn't for the fact your boy Zach charges pretty cheap for these ones, I might have complained. If this was like a $25 before shipping, oh yeah, you bet I'd be annoyed. But for what it was alright. Now, the Punchline books. Getting both of these trades, collecting the first 12 issues of the Punchline series, which is, first of all, written by Bill Williamson, and artwork by Matthew Weldon, who, if you recall, was from Black Ops, did artwork on Black Ops as well. Basically, this young girl, hold on. What was her name? Alright, just a minute. Oh no, sorry, now I got Jesse. Jesse finds this woman named Mel who's been shot, and basically says the only way, she needs to give up her powers to Jesse, because if she doesn't, they'll be lost. Because she got shot and is very wounded. So she does, and by doing it, it also saves Mel. And eventually, Jesse becomes a superhero named Punchline. And throughout all of this, Mel is showing her how to be a hero throughout a whole lot of stuff. It's actually some very interesting writing, very slow build, and if I can give a criticism, it's all over the place, but I don't mind it. It shows that there's a lot of good writing. We find a bit more about Mel's character, and yeah, throughout all of this, it's like I said, it's a very slow burn. As Jessie is Punchline, as she's gaining her abilities, learning the ropes and everything. meeting up with other individuals, all that stuff. It's really good. I mean, I cannot recommend it enough. Get the books themselves on the newsstands if your store gets Anarch Press. It is just so good, and the artwork is incredible. Yeah, I, again, really liked it. This one I've been holding off for a long time. Again, the thickness of it. Flying Fortress. This one is about a group of military personnel who, during World War II, they actually were sent on a giant flying fortress and blew up a bunker that Hitler was in. But at the end, they end up crashing through time, where there's also a bunch of zombies and the Infinite Reich. Basically, Nazis have taken control of other advanced tech and has been using it to set up and do some more attacks and everything. And throughout all of this, it's just one big adventure through history as it gets through. And by the end of it, they stop them, make it back home, and are ready to continue the fight. The thing about this, though, is that the artwork and Eric Weathers will admit as such. The artwork is very rough at first. Not his best work. You kind of got to go through it, but it does get better by the end. By the end, it is a lot better. And he openly admits it. But yeah, those initial the initial chunk of the story, like I said, just right there. Very awkward, very off. It's like, yeah. Again, some very good poses and everything, but otherwise, and setups, but again, it takes a while before you really start to get the liking it. But yeah, very thick book, a lot of issues, I believe about 8 issues worth, a very good fun tale. Just took me forever to get a chance to get over it because, well, given my summary stuff, would have taken me a long time to get through. Next, it's She, Return of the Warrior, which also includes a reprint of the very first She issue, which I like. But yeah, this is by Billy Tucci. Long time coming, and basically it's about She, also aka geez, been a while. Oh, Anna is this woman who went by the name of She, who she had a series a long while ago, and then in between it's been revealed that she got married and had a kid, and she had since retired, but she's having a bit of a nightmare right now, going in for a fight now her daughter's also a teenager, I should point out. It's found out that the friend of her father's was brutally killed, and throughout this leads to her talking with a shrink, and first we find out about her husband is in jail, and then we also find out that her original arch enemy, the shrink, was talking with him a lot, quite a lot, and basically they think he eventually escaped, and he could be responsible for all of this. It even makes it look like the shrink was attacked by her old nemesis. And so Anna decides it's time to start up again. She has her outfit, and, well, first, she's gotten older and had a kid, rips it, so she has to sew it back up a bit before she's ready to head on out. And there's her father getting her, helping her ready, feeling she's ready for... Yeah, she's She, which is Japanese for death, I should also point out. Also, I should have pointed out earlier that her daughter has been wanting to go into her footsteps, and her dad has been teaching her, but Anna's not having any of it. But yeah, heading out as She meets up with her old foe, and the two have a bit of a fight, but as it goes on, it's revealed that he's not responsible for any of it. Meanwhile, her daughter and father are keeping things up, but it turns out the shrink is behind it all. Over the years, he's been talking with this was talking over with him, before eventually he reveals that, yeah, he then tortured him, got all the information out of him, and then they realized she left her family alone. As while the father is standing out there, he gets slaughtered by this new, the shrink, who, yeah, basically reveal, and they're fighting, they're still fighting. It's trying to make it clear to her that I'm not the bad guy. He is. While Bevins, that's the shrink, is meeting up with her daughter. And as soon as they make it back, they find her father dead and daughter gone, ending on a cliffhanger. Yeah, I didn't expect it to be a cliffhanger at all. We also get a bunch of the variant covers, including George Perez and Amanda Connor's covers. I did enjoy this. I just didn't wish it ended on a cliffhanger, because this was set up as being the big return, but ended up being them not long before this, right before this started going out, they started saying they're getting ready for the next one. It's like, really? I mean, again, I'm not going to complain. I just hope they resolve it in the next one. Just feels a bit like dropping the bomb on us a little. But last, but certainly not least, Magnificent 7 by Mike Miller. This one is, well, given the recent stuff going on, you see why I was trying to hold it off a little bit. But yeah, just a bunch of weird fun going by hypothetically if Trump's reelected, causes a mass thing called the triggering, where all of these Democrats and everything merge in this giant monster. And then we have people like Dean Cain, Rush Limbaugh, Steven Crowder, and One Quarter Black Garrett, Ben Shapiro, Laura Ingraham, Tucker Carlson, and Dr. Savage, and all that stuff. All of them become these different versions of superpowered or other heroes and everything. And then you had Dean Cain there, and he's given all their powers to become the American Avenger as they go out to fight this monster. And then at the same time, well, first of all, again, the artwork here is very good. Unfortunately, it didn't reach the point for him to expand on the book, kind of like he said on my interview with him. And then we have Alex Jones becoming a giant, the incredible, and the amphibious Bulk, as they all go and fight this guy and this monster. Then they decided to bring in the Bombshell Brigade to basically remove get all the men to want to, well, gain more testosterone, and then they leave, weakening the monster, and then they finish it off. And then allowing Trump to continue on with his speech. It's short, craziness. It's a political satire comic, and a bit more on the nose than even the Walmart stuff. I mean, Walmart herself is already political. This one's in that ballpark. The artwork is very good, and yeah, I got a kick out of this. So yeah, that's all the books that I wanted to get caught up on. For the most part, it's been they've been anywhere from okay to very good. I really did enjoy them, but there are some issues with some of them. I hope I don't have to get this far behind again. But next time, I will be going over Common America Volume 2. That one deserves its own episode. You'll see why. But yeah, that's all I've got. I'll see you guys later.